Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our presentation on your next steps as an accepted student. My name is Allison Stapleton, and I serve as the Assistant Director of Admissions at the Culinary Institute of America at Greystone. This presentation is geared mostly towards our admitted students for the fall 2020. However, if you're watching and you're an applicant or have an interest in attending the CIA in the future, feel free to follow along. This will give you a head start on what to expect as an admitted student before you enroll at the CIA. As the world's premier culinary college and leader in the food and hospitality industry, we can't wait to host you at our amazing campus. But for today, we are committed to providing you with helpful information specifically for you, our accepted student. Today, we are joined by our very special guest, Sofia Wise, your personal enrollment manager at the Culinary Institute of America at Greystone. Now, without further ado, let's give a warm round of virtual applause to our presenter, Sofia Wise.
Thank you, Allison, for that warm welcome. I'd like to welcome all of our accepted students to CIA's California campus, the stunning CIA Greystone located in St. Helena in Napa Valley, to students enrolling in our undergraduate associate degree programs and our post-baccalaureate accelerated culinary arts program and our master's in wine and beverage management program. I welcome you. So as Allison mentioned, I am an enrollment manager here at the CIA. That means for your enrollment at CIA Greystone, I am here to serve as your go-to person for your next steps and enrollment questions. If you've ever tried to contact most other colleges, you've likely called and been transferred around to different departments trying to get in touch with the person that you need. But at CIA, the enrollment team knows a little bit about every department on campus. So we are equipped to answer most of the questions that you're going to have about the school and your next steps, and we'll work closely with those other departments trying to get you in touch with the person that you need or the information that you need. And also to make sure that you meet the requirements and deadlines for those various departments. And this includes financial services and financial aid. So enrollment is able to field a lot of the questions that you'll have about finances, but ultimately, I and the enrollment team are here to set you up for success, to make sure that you've met all of your deadlines and requirements, and that you are ready to come to school fully prepared. Now, let's review the CIA student portal. Many of you likely already have access to it, but if you've just recently been accepted to CIA and haven't had a chance to log in yet, this is what it looks like. The portal will be such an important tool for you over the next few months. You'll be able to check your CIA email account through here, and I do encourage you to start checking that regularly because high priority departments such as financial aid and career services and residence life, they're only going to contact you through this specific email account. So please get in the habit of checking it at least once or twice a week. In fact, your email account is actually through Microsoft Outlook, so you'll be able to pair this email account with any smartphone device. Just reach out to us if you need instructions for how to take care of that. You can also submit your $300 tuition deposit to reserve your spot for the upcoming semester through the View and Pay Account button. You can pay your deposit with a credit card, a debit card, or even a bank draft. May 1st is National College Decision Day. We are a small campus, roughly 250 to 300 students in total, so space is limited in our programs. So we ask that you send your deposit by May 1st just to make sure that you can have a seat for this fall. And after you deposit, don't forget to submit a photo of yourself on social media using the hashtag #IDecidedCIA. There may be even a contest for best pictures, so hashtag and keep following us because we don't want you to miss out. Now let's move back to the homepage of the student portal. So in that same section where you can pay your deposit, you'll also be able to pay your tuition bill in full or set up the monthly 4-pay payment plan as we approach the payment deadline for the upcoming semester. Now, do you see this section here titled Self-Service Menu? This is the spot where you'll find your financial aid award and any requirements for that department. You'll also be able to review your tuition bill and your class schedule in this section once those items become available. Now, let's take a closer look at the financial aid section. It's going to bring you to a financial aid checklist, and the first item will be to submit a free application for federal student aid or FAFSA. If you've already filed a FAFSA, some students may see the complete required documents option. If you see this item on your list, be sure to click the link to see what additional items our financial aid office is requesting. It may be tax documents or worksheets of some kind, but in any case, not sending in these documents could hold up your access to certain types of aid. Now you can click the review and accept your financial aid award package. Here, you'll be able to see any scholarships that you've been awarded from CIA and any aid that you've been offered from FAFSA. You can also accept or decline any student loans that you might have been offered. Loans are always optional, so be sure to review those items on your award letter very closely. If you do decide to accept the federal student loans on the award letter, you will then need to complete the loan entrance counseling and the master promissory note. You can complete both of these items at studentaid.gov. Studentaid.gov is essentially the same website where you completed your FAFSA, so you'll log in with the same FSA ID login information. It should take you about 30 minutes to complete both of those items. Now back to the home page of the portal to go over registration and billing. Registration for the fall semester will take place for deposited students by early June, but sometimes it does happen earlier. So stay tuned to your student email account because you'll get a notification once that's ready for you. We'll do the registration for you for your first semester. Just be on the lookout for an email from me or the enrollment department letting you know when it's available to view. Your tuition and fees will post to the student portal at the exact same time that your schedule goes up. And you'll receive an email with instructions for how to find your schedule and your bill all in one place, which is where the arrow is pointing to that says financial information. Housing applications for the fall semester are scheduled to open as early as tomorrow for deposited students. If you submit your housing application by mid-May, your housing fees should be included in the billing statement as well. Now, let's take a look at the to-do list near the bottom. And then we're going to zoom in for a better look. So the to-do list, it's a listing of all of the items you can complete prior to your enrollment. Some of the items on the list may check off and some of them may not. But in either case, it's there for you to reference to help you stay on track as you count down to the days to the start of your semester. So we spoke earlier about the tuition deposit and briefly talked about the FAFSA, but let's take a closer look at this item. Although it's not required, it is highly encouraged for all U.S. citizens and permanent resident students to file a FAFSA application. If you haven't already filed one for the fall semester, you can do it today at studentaid.gov. Be sure to select a 2020-21 FAFSA application. You'll need your 2018 income information plus your FSA ID, which is your login information for the website. If you don't have an FSA ID, you can set it up here as well. And don't forget to include CIA school code on your application so that we can view your results. Our school code is 007304. And if you're searching by state, we can be found under New York, since that's where CIA's flagship campus is located. So even though you're coming to CIA Greystone located in California, you still have to look for us under New York. After you submit and finish your FAFSA, you'll be able to, you will receive an email from FAFSA confirming that it was successfully submitted, but it can still take up to 5 business days for us to receive your financial aid results from FAFSA. And then once we have your results, you'll receive an email and maybe even a phone call from one of us to walk you through what that financial aid award looks like. And there are still other options to explore to boost your overall financial aid. For one, we have the Alumni Referral Scholarship. If you have a personal connection with a CIA graduate from either Greystone, New York, or our Texas campus, and they agree to write a brief letter of recommendation to our admissions department saying why you'd be such a great candidate for the school, you could be eligible to receive a one-time $1,000 scholarship to use for your first year at CIA. Associate degree, ACAP, and Masters in Wine students are all eligible to take advantage of the scholarship. If you are joining us for our associate degree in culinary arts or baking and pastry program this fall, send us your SAT or ACT scores if you've already taken them. Or if you plan to take them later this summer, you can send them to us at that time. So even though these tests weren't necessary for your admission application to CIA, depending on the scores that you made, they could be used for consideration for that CIA Excellence Scholarship. So please send us your official score report so that we can take a closer look. Next, we have our collection of chef scholarships. That's chef spelled with a $HEF. This can be found on the right-hand side of your student portal, and this is CIA's very own database for scholarships that are donated to the school from organizations and benefactors such as Hershey's and Williams-Sonoma, and they're offered exclusively to CIA students, so you're not competing with students from other schools for these scholarships. New scholarships are added each semester, and scholarship applications for the fall 2020 semester will post sometime in June. And also, don't forget that there are thousands and thousands of scholarships out there that you can search and apply for. FAFSA.com, supercollege.com, scholarships.com have tons. You can also check out the American Culinary Federation and the James Beard Foundation for scholarships that are more specific to your degree. And plus, you can also search your local community. The local charities and the Rotary clubs, those are great places to start, and they may even be offering scholarships as well. And that's another reason why you should file a FAFSA, because many of these private scholarships that I just mentioned, they may want you to have a FAFSA on file as part of their application criteria. So it never hurts you to file a FAFSA, it can only help. And if you want to discuss your financial aid award letter more, or even want help comparing award offers from other schools and scholarship offers, feel free to reach out to myself and the enrollment team so that you can have as much information about your financial aid awards that you possibly can, so that you can make the best decision. So moving back to the checklist, you can access the housing application from here as well. Deposited students will be able to submit the application for the fall semester housing app as early as tomorrow, April 9th. If everything is ready on our end, you'll see an email from me sometime tomorrow giving you the go-ahead to apply. And if you don't see the email, just wait a couple of days before trying the application. And don't worry, there is no rush to apply. A space is guaranteed for all incoming students, so it's not first come, first serve. If you decide that you want to live off campus, I still want you to complete the housing application anyway, just so that you can notify us of your status as a commuter, and you will see that as an option on the housing app. You'll see on the application for housing that there are 3 residence halls to choose from at Greystone. The first is the guest house located directly behind the main building, and the other 2 are our beautiful vineyard lodges located just down the street with frequent shuttle service. They're called vineyard lodges for a reason, because they sit right in the middle of a very large vineyard. Every room will have its own bathroom plus a mini fridge and a microwave. And every student, even if you're living off campus, will be required to have a school meal plan. You'll get at least 2 meals a day on class days, plus snacks and coffee. And if you have any dietary restrictions, just let us know before the start of the semester so that we can work with you. Now let's talk about the medical forms. Just click on the checklist item to download and print a copy of the required forms. The forms must be completed and signed by a licensed medical professional. If for any reason you're not able to see a primary care physician, or if you don't even have a primary care doctor, someone from an urgent care center or clinic will work just fine. You'll need to have a physical examination done within 1 calendar year of your scheduled enrollment date. So for example, if your last exam was on December 2019, your doctor can use those same results on the form. We'll also need proof of your vaccinations. If you or your doctor can't locate your vaccination records, you can ask your doctor to test your blood just to make sure that you still have the vaccination still active in your bloodstream. If you currently have health insurance, you'll need to include a copy of your insurance card with your health forms. Insurance isn't required for U.S. citizens and permanent residents, but if you do have it, we will need a copy of your card. And international students will be required to have health insurance while attending CIA. The medical paperwork will be due 45 days prior to the start of the fall semester, but if you need more time, just let us know. With the current pandemic crisis, it might be hard to get a doctor's appointment for the time being. And when your forms are ready to submit, you can email them to CIA Health Services at culinary.edu or enrollment@culinary.edu. Now let's talk about your chef uniforms. All culinary, baking, and ACAP students will need to click on the checklist link so that you can order your uniforms online. Masters and wine students won't have this link on your portal. Wine students, your dress code will be business casual, and I'll talk more about that in a sec. For everyone needing a chef's uniform, though, just click on the link to be redirected to our uniform company's website, Ultimate Image. Here you'll select your degree program and put in the best estimate you can for your jacket and pant sizes. And don't worry, you'll be able to try everything on during orientation. The cost of the uniform is included in your tuition, so there's no need to purchase anything from that website. The only thing not included with the uniform, though, are shoes. You can buy kitchen shoes from the website if you want, but you do not have to. Most students do prefer to buy shoes that they've been able to try on in a store just to make sure that they feel good on your feet and then they fit right. You're going to be spending a lot of time on your feet in these classes, so you want to make sure that you're getting something that's comfortable for you. And as long as they're black, non-slip, and closed-toed, you'll be good to go. Associate students, you'll receive 7 chef coats, 7 sets of pants, 4 neckerchiefs, 5 aprons, 5 towels, and 10 toques during orientation. ACAP students, you'll get 5 chef coats, 5 sets of pants, 4 neckerchiefs, 5 aprons, 3 side towels, and 5 toques. Culinary students will also get a Mercer knife kit that's included with your uniform. Baking and pastry students, you'll receive a pastry kit, and masters in wine students, you will get a tasting kit to go along with your classes. In addition to wearing your chef whites, all students will need to follow the professionalism and hygiene policy. So this means you must be clean shaven, and this includes while you're having your photo taken for your student ID photo. You have to be clean shaven in your photo ID as well. No visible piercings during class. Your hair color must be a natural color, so no pink, green, blue, purple, etc. But I do want to add that your hair doesn't have to be your natural color. It just has to be a human hair color that occurs in nature. And your nails must be trimmed and polish free. If for any reason you are in an academic building and not attending one of your kitchen classes, maybe you're there for an event or tutoring, but you must be dressed in business casual. So this means slacks and a button-down shirt and polos, or skirts that are fingertip length. The easiest way to describe the dress code is to dress as though you're going to a job interview, from shirt to shoes. Wine students, this will be your dress code for all of your classes. And finally, I want you to know about the consent to release form that you can print off and from the link that's listed on the portal checklist, and to kind of go over what the consent to release form means. So from the moment that you begin your classes at CIA, your academic and financial information are protected under the Federal Education Rights and Privacy Act, or FERPA for short. It means that CIA is not able to share personal information about your student record, including the bill, with anyone that you haven't listed on the consent form. So if you have a parent, guardian, or other family member that is helping you at school, you need to complete the form so that our offices can speak with them and any other person that you've listed on the form about your classes, your bill, your schedule, your academic advising, etc. Anything that's going to be related to your time here at CIA. You can also add names or even remove names from the form at any point in the Student Services office. So let's recap and go over a few things to look forward to. Tomorrow, April 9th, is when, fingers crossed, the housing application will open. As I mentioned, if you have already paid your tuition deposit for fall, you'll receive an email from me letting you know that you can now submit the housing application. Again, there is no rush. May 1st, please have your tuition deposits paid by this day just to make sure that you'll have a seat for this fall. Feel free to contact us if you have any questions. And while there's no rush to complete your housing application, we would like you to have your application submitted before July 13th, just so that we can begin the process of assigning rooms and roommates. Please have your medical forms turned in by July 25th, so that's 45 days prior to enrollment. Again, if you're having trouble scheduling a doctor's appointment in time to meet this deadline, just let us know so that we can work with you. By August 1st, make sure that you've had a chance to review your class schedule and your tuition bill carefully and have started looking for your textbooks and submitted your uniform order. And finally, tuition payments are due by August 9th. You can reach out to myself, the enrollment department, and financial aid if you have any questions about how to pay your remaining balance owed. And most of all, I just want you to start planning to have fun, because you're going to love every minute of your time here at CIA in Napa Valley, because there's no other place like it.
Thank you very much, Sophia, for that extremely informative and helpful presentation. So let's answer some of the fantastic questions that we are receiving. Some of our admitted students want to know just a little bit more about that application. Are they asking about different preferences? If I live off campus, do I have to complete it? Can you go into a little bit more of the details in regards to that application?
Yeah, sure. So let's start with the off-campus. If you are going to be living off-campus, we do want you to complete the housing application anyway, just so that you can mark your status on the application as commuter, and that we're not chasing you later on to complete a housing application and finding out if you are going to be staying with us in one of our residence halls. For those who will be living with us on campus, the housing application, it's basically just trying to we want to get as much information about you as possible so that we can make the best match as possible for roommates and such things. So we want to know what your housing preferences are, the building location. We want to know if you're a light sleeper, a heavy sleeper, if you're okay with having guests in the room, if you're more of a social butterfly or you're an introvert. if you're okay rooming with a smoker or maybe someone who has a pet. So just general things that is going to help us make the best match possible for you based on your program and your age group and availability.
Great. When is the move-in date?
Move-in date for September is going to be on Monday, September 8th. So that's Labor Day.
Great. And if we have a couple of our students, because we have all ages, all walks of life at the Greystone campus. And if a student has a family, if they're moving to the Napa Valley with their family, can the CIA help offer some suggestions, or what do you recommend they do?
Well, we can kind of point you in directions of where other students have found housing, such as different towns, like maybe Angwin or Calistoga, just to the north of campus, or Napa, the city of Napa to the south. Maybe if you want to go a little bit further west to Santa Rosa, or maybe even further south to maybe American Canyon or Vallejo or Vacaville. I mean, we can point you in directions and maybe even get some recommendations from current students, just so that you can start planning of what which location and distance is going to be best for you and your family.
Absolutely. And we are here as your CIA family here at Greystone to help you with that process and to help you. I know we've talked to countless families before to try to, like, what's the best town, maybe the best fit for you, and maybe connect you with some current students that have families that have, that have relocated here. So you are, we're in it with you. And I think biggest suggestion would be the early bird gets the worm in regards to our housing. So you want to make sure that you start kind of looking at that now. So you can ask, Sophia and myself, as well as our team here at CIA will help you.
Right, for the off-campus options, because Napa Valley is very popular real estate-wise.
Absolutely. So in regards to, are there pets allowed at the CIA?
Generally, there are no pets allowed, but you can request to bring a medical service animal with you if you have the proper documentation. So approval, it's always based on the circumstances. So we can put you in touch with our Learning Strategies department, who will work with you to make sure that if you are requesting to have a service animal with you, that you go through the proper channels and have the proper documentation.
Mm-hmm. So textbooks, we've had a few great questions about textbooks, because CIA, being that you're actually using all of your textbooks here at the CIA, and I know a lot of colleges, you have to only use their site, or you can only, you're kind of restricted, and it can get really expensive. Can you answer a couple of those textbook questions? Yeah, I mean, textbooks are definitely a concern. They're not included in the cost of tuition. I would say maybe budget $500 each semester for your textbooks. That is if you want to try to get them brand new. If you're like me, you like everything fresh and crisp and with your own notes in it, that's a very healthy budget to plan for your books. But you do have the freedom to acquire your books in cheaper or different formats, as long as they are the correct edition. So if there's a PDF or downloadable version available of a textbook, feel free to use that. They may even be cheaper. You can also look at websites to see if they can either sell you a used book, or even a book that can be rented, where you just you borrow it for the semester and then return it to the lender's site. There's also students who will make connections early on with students who are currently there, who are further along in the program, to try to get their textbooks. Either maybe they're not getting used as much as later, so they're more free to lend out the books, or maybe even just buy the book outright from a current student or former student. That's great. So I love that there's some options there for students and whatever's the best fit for them. Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about our financial aid questions, since we have a ton of financial aid questions rolling in. No surprise there, of course. When is the FAFSA due date?
There is no FAFSA due date, but we do recommend that you get it in as early as you possibly can. Now, I do want to add that if you are a California resident applying to one of our undergraduate programs, the Associate in Baking and Pastry or the Culinary Arts program, California residents do have a FAFSA deadline of March 2nd, only if you're trying to qualify for the Cal Grant, the California State Grant. So that's the state of California's deadline if you want to try to qualify for their funds. But if you miss that deadline, that doesn't mean you still can't do a FAFSA for any federal financial aid or even additional CIA financial aid. So again, March 2nd for California residents. I know we've already passed that day, but it's still not too late to do a FAFSA if you want to try to qualify for some other aid. And it's not too late to start planning for next year if you missed this year's deadline. So you can always do a FAFSA application for your sophomore year going forward. That application is going to open up on October 1st for next year's FAFSA.
Awesome. Really exceptional question in regards to financial aid. It's very well thought out. As far as, the student is thinking, well, I'm trying to figure out if I can afford this. I'm still looking for scholarships. Do I have to, can I wait to accept my financial aid? Should I accept it now? What if my financial aid increases? And, will it go up again if I still don't accept my package? Like, what's the timeline on that?
Well, I would recommend accepting your financial aid well before our payment deadline, which is going to be 30 days prior to the start of the semester. But even if your financial aid changes in a good way, meaning going up more, it's not going to change that you've already accepted the financial aid award letter. So go ahead, accept it now. And if it goes up, it goes up. You're not locked into that lower scholarship, or you're not locked into not getting any future scholarships. And also, going back to the financial aid award, if you change your mind about the student loans that are offered, let's say that you were really excited and you hit accept on the student loans, but then a couple months down the road, you realize, I don't need those student loans. Just let us know so that we can kind of open that part back up on your financial aid award letter, and then you can go in and hit decline on those loans, or vice versa. If you already hit decline on those loans and you decide, maybe I kind of need those to help with my balance, then again, let us know. We can open back up your financial aid award letter so that you can go in and hit accept.
Wow, that's great. That's a huge relief, I'm sure. Not like you're committed. So
Yeah.
Is the full tuition due on the final date? Is there a monthly payment option?
So tuition is always going to be due 30 days prior to the start date. So for our students enrolling on September 9th, August 9th will be your due date for tuition. And there is a monthly payment plan. It is a 4-pay plan. So if you are interested in signing up for that payment plan, your first installment of those 4 payments will be due by August 9th. Your second installment will be due September 9th, so the first day of the semester, followed by October 9th for the third installment, and November 9th for your final installment to finish out the payment plan for that semester.
Okay. At Greystone, I know you touched on a little bit of the insurance for students. How do students typically get medical treatment at Greystone?
That is a great question. So we're happy to refer you to any local clinics within the area if you need to seek any medical treatment. There is a hospital not too far from the campus. So let's say like you've really cut yourself and you seek some stitches, and we can have security like take you down to the hospital because we want to make sure that you're well.
Absolutely. Yeah. The St. Helena Hospital is literally across the vineyard and up the hill. It sounds like a storybook. It's not even a 5-minute, 7-minute drive that the security officers will drive you to. And it's a 0 ER wait time. It's a teaching hospital for the college up there, which specializes in nursing. So it's absolutely exceptional as far as the care that they provide, and they are very used to receiving CIA students for their cuts and burns. So thank you so much for answering that question. That was great.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit, there's been a few questions about the schedule. First off, how does that weekly schedule typically, how does that break down for students?
Well, you should anticipate being in class 5 days a week. It is a full-time program. I've seen classes begin as early as 7 in the morning for your first semester and go as late as like 5, 6, 7 in the evening within that semester. So the schedule can vary from semester to semester, but you should anticipate being at school full-time 5 days a week.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, and usually it breaks down. Typically, like 2 days are in the teaching kitchens, and there's 2 days with your more liberal art classes.
Right.
Obviously, with the current situation occurring, there are several questions that do we see that changing for the fall as far as those lab classes are concerned?
Well, we are continuing to monitor the situation very closely. So if there are any changes to our academic calendar or our curriculum plans, we will be sure to communicate those out to you.
Absolutely. For parking permits and passes, that's another one where I know a lot of colleges, it's $500 per semester parking permit, and you know it's a 2-mile walk each way to get to campus. We've got a great question about, you know, is there a need to purchase a parking permit?
There is no need to purchase a parking permit. In fact, any student can apply for a parking permit, and parking is free. All you have to do is just register your vehicle for campus with campus safety. There is a link on your student portal to-do list to register your vehicle. It does say have your registration completed for the vehicle 30 days prior to your enrollment, but really you can register your vehicle at any time. We'll have students who they aren't even sure what their car plans are. They're still weighing the decision. They maybe they're switching out cars before the start of the semester, or they're waiting until they get to school and starting classes before they even acquire their car. So you can get a new parking permit at any point before or after you're starting your classes. We will need to know what your residency status is, if you're going to be living on campus or off campus, because there are different stickers that you'll need for your car for each, and there are different designated lots for you to park in depending on if you're a resident or a commuter.
Absolutely. Only a couple more questions that we have time for. There's a question about orientation. When does that begin? Because I know there's a little bit of discrepancy on what may be on the portal, and then when we said the move-in date was on the 8th.
So no, absolutely. So orientation and move-in will be on Monday, September 7th. So that is Labor Day. And orientation will carry over onto your first official day of September 8th. So it is at least a two-day event for our students. There may be activities for the families on the first day, which is move-in day. But the students will have essentially like a 2-day orientation and begin later on during the week, kind of begin the introduction to their classes.
Quick question from one of our veterans. Obviously, the CIA was founded for our veterans, 1946. So it's just one of our veterans would like to know how to, apply for the Yellow Ribbon program, and how do I apply that in the GI Bill to my tuition?
All right, that's a great question. So if you will be using the post 9/11 GI Bill, you will need to contact the VA to request your certificate of eligibility. You may even be able to do it online at the VA e-benefits website. It can take about 30 business days for you to receive your certificate of eligibility letter in the mail. So if you are looking to utilize that, please begin that process now. And the GI Bill, it will cover your tuition and most of the fees. The only fees that it doesn't cover up front with the school would be the mandatory meal plan, and if you're living on campus housing. And that's only because the VA will pay you for those types of living expenses through your monthly basic allowance for housing, which will begin after the start of the semester.
Okay, great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any ways to meet or talk or connect with other students before the semester begins? Because I know if you guys can connect and you form a friendship, then you can request them to be your roommate, and they can request you to be a roommate. So are there any ways or any platforms?
Yes, we do have an accepted student Facebook page for just our Greystone students. If you do a search in Facebook, you might also see one pop up for our Texas campus and for our New York campus. The pages are vetted to make sure that anyone requesting to join the various pages are accepted students for that particular campus. They're not an alum who graduated 5 years ago, or they're not somebody's great uncle who's just trying to get some information about the college. So any request will be granted strictly to the student. But even if you're not a heavy Facebook user, I do recommend you just getting on the page, just so that's how you can begin making those initial connections with your other classmates. You'll see postings from time to time of students who are trying to start chat groups with students on Snapchat, or follow me on Instagram or TikTok. So it's a way to begin that initial introduction to students who are coming in for your accepted semester, and even some current students who are still actively enrolled at CIA.
So exciting. So much fun. And I love seeing these questions come in because I know who these students are and I cannot wait for them to be here. The final question that we have time for today, and I think this is, I think this really resounds with many of you all that have signed up for this information session is, Sophia, what is the best advice you could give me well, she's a soon-to-be graduate, but also to any of our students that are coming in the fall. Nervous, intimidated, but excited at the same time. What's the best advice that you could give?
I would say my best advice would just be to lean into it. I mean, you're not going to be alone. Everyone's going to be here for the same mission as you are. And everyone's always nervous to kind of take that first step into something new, whether it be a new career or just living in a new part of the country. Just kind of lean into it, be present. Ask questions and just let it sink it all in, because you're not going to want to miss a minute of it, and it's going to go by so quickly for you.
Great advice. And you were not admitted by accident. We admitted you because we know, we are confident in your ability to be successful at the CIA. We know that. So kind of like Sophia said, lean into that, rest on the fact that we know what we're doing. And we've been doing this for a while. So we are the world's premier culinary college for a reason. It's because we admit students like you all that are truly passionate and have an incredible work ethic. And, in the combination of your passion and the skills that we, will afford you, you are unstoppable. So those feelings that you're having are completely normal. So that is all that we have time for now. Thank you so much for joining us today. And thanks again to our presenter, your enrollment manager, Sofia Wise. If we weren't able to answer all of your questions, I know that there's a few other questions. You guys had some really good questions. We will follow up with you individually. And for your reference, this recorded session will be accessible on our website. So thank you again for attending. We cannot wait to see you here in your Chef Whites in a few short months. It'll be here before we know it. So be safe, be well, and we'll see you soon.